Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Andrew, and we are the IB English Guys. Folks, before we start today's video, just a quick reminder, we have a website. Please make sure you're visiting our website, you're exploring it completely. We've just added some student review courses up there. We have for Paper 1, Paper 2, and the IO. Don't be a passive student just watching videos. Be an active student. Write some papers, do some work. Check out those courses. Giles, what's the topic for today?
Today we want to talk about implications and how to discuss implications and why this is so important in every single IB assessment, but also in our critical thinking.
This topic comes up a lot in discussion. What are implications and why is it so important for students to discuss this? Guys, if you're not thinking about implications, you're going to top out at A3. That means you're going to have understanding and interpretation at A3. You need to talk about some implications. Giles, what are we talking about?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I thought about this word, and I know the meaning of the word, but I went to our friend, needs to be our friend, ChatGPT, and I went in and I typed in what do implications mean in the IB English context, and here is the answer that they gave us. And I think it's interesting to use ChatGPT to come up with some different ideas and then arrive at our own definition.
According to the IB, you must cite that. Remember, we're using this as a tool, not a replacement as our own thinking. We're using this as a tool to get our own ideas going.
Okay, so I see the word deeper meanings and consequences. I like that. We're thinking about the deeper meanings or consequences that are suggested. Again, that word suggested or implied is in that word.
They are not overtly stated. We understand the literal meaning, but we need to do a bit more digging, do some inferencing to try to come up with these implications, okay? Let's put it in our own words because we can't just slap whatever ChatGPT said into our work.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so first of all, I think implications means that we're making inferences about a text, that we're inferring. Okay, and that means we're making some educated guesses about the text.
Yeah, we also like to think about that as looking for the subtext that lies below the surface. Now, students, we don't mean small text as subtext. We literally mean like what's lurking beneath the surface of the text.
That's right, and we're reading between the lines. So we're thinking about, again, what's indirectly stated. So we like sentence stems because I think when we use sentence stems, first of all, they help us write, because they help us start sentences. That's what a sentence stem means. But also, they alert the reader, i.e. the examiner or our teacher, whoever's reading our paper, that we are discussing an implication. Yeah, I can't emphasize that enough.
Folks, they're like big flashing flags for the examiner. I am now talking about implications is what I see when I see these words.
I would use the word implication several times, but we can also make it a verb. So we can say this phrase implies that, or the reader can infer that.
Sure.
So we're thinking about that.
The author suggests that. They don't overtly say it, the author suggests that. While not stated, the author hints that, again, not overtly stated.
Yeah.
I love this one. The implications are clear, big idea. Love that one, so powerful.
Yeah, really good. So again, I think that's a really good one. We can think about while it's not overtly stated, we can infer that.
Oh, I like
that, right?
Yeah, the audience reasons that. Readers conclude that. There's just a lot of different things we can do here, but when we use this language, we know we're thinking about criterion A, Mr. Giles.
Yeah, that's great. So now that we understand, we have some sentence stems, let's keep in mind that this word appears on every single rubric. When we're looking at the criteria. When we're looking at criterion A in particular, this is where we see that word.
Let's start with paper 1, Giles. In paper 1, if I look at the descriptors, I see this descriptor, the response demonstrates a thorough and perceptive understanding of the literal meaning of the text. There is a convincing and insightful interpretation of larger implications and subtleties of the text. There it is. Yeah. Insightful interpretation of larger implications of the text. That's the FAR band A5, right? So if you want A5, you better be all over those implications. We need to see those sentence stems used liberally throughout the paper. How about paper 2?
Paper 2, again, we're thinking about literary works. Literary works definitely have implications. We're reading between the lines. So again, we're seeing perceptive knowledge, persuasive interpretation of their implications. So again, we're thinking about, taking Hamlet, we're thinking about what are the implications and making perceptive interpretations about that.
Folks, we see it in the individual oral mark bands as well, right? So we see the phrase persuasive interpretation of their implications in relation to the global issue. So in this case, we're not looking at, a theme or something. We're thinking about that global issue, and we're thinking about what can we infer, what can we deduce, what can we conclude as a result of exploring the implications.
Yeah, same thing with higher level essay. We see again where it's similar. It's that persuasive interpretation of their implications in relation to the topic that we've chosen, the line of inquiry that we've chosen. So this word obviously is something that when I was thinking about what video do we need to talk about, gosh, we need to think about how can we propel students to just think more critically and think more deeply about the implications of the text.
I like that because when you examine, we also think, wow, this kid wrote a lot, but they're just sort of restating the literal. I can't move them beyond A3 for that. Let's take a look at some of our previous texts. Should we dig back into our Paper 1 playlist?
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, this again is in our Paper 1 countdown to Paper 1. Well, we kind of selected some kind of key text.
Giles, the dog is back.
I know.
I missed this dog. I love this dog. It's back. Okay, this folks. Giles, what was this website about? This is the website at our countdown.
Yeah, it was an Australian nonprofit that was basically had a project that was linking animals with elderly people, and it was the Companion Project, and it was an interesting kind of organization that was putting animals with elderly
and
people.
They overtly stated the literal meaning was we have an organization that pairs elderly with animals. That's the literal meaning.
Yeah.
But what can we imply?
Yeah, infer.
Sorry, what can we infer?
Yeah, so we can infer that older people often feel lonely and they really lack companions. And again, that's an inference we're making. It might be an obvious one, but we're making that inference.
What about the idea that animals can improve one's mental health?
Yeah.
I love my dog, and I'm definitely going to put a picture of me and my dog in this video, but that dog improves my mental health.
Yeah, and it's that humans and their relationship with the natural world and animals. But we also think about a much kind of more subtle thing is about a lot of Western families are definitely more fractured and are I wouldn't say disintegrating, but definitely are challenged by modern society. A lot of older people.
This comes up with me in my own life, cross-cultural marriage. I think one thing, my wife thinks another thing. This is that people have different perspectives on what we do with elderly people. There's another one, Giles, that we have as well, the e-bike from Paper 1.
Yeah, the e-bike.
Product review.
Yeah, product review. Again, this was an e-bike, and the writer was kind of talking about his experiences riding this e-bike with his friend Vlad and being able to ride with him. So again, this text also has some implications. And first of all, one implication is that people have different abilities and people have different physical limitations. And again, that is an implication of the text.
This guy is an incredible triathlete. Yeah, we have different physical limitations. I can't do what you do, okay? But another implication, another inference we can deduce is that e-bikes might act as an equalizer for people like me who can't keep up with people like you.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I like that one.
Also, leisure activities are best appreciated when shared. That we want to, when we recreate and we're doing things outside, it's much better when we share them.
And maybe we want to think about this idea that as we progress further into 2023, we see humans relying on machines. And this is becoming a greater part of our life, right? Mr. Giles, is any of this overtly or explicitly stated in the text?
Not, indirectly. It's all indirect. So this is, again, the implication. Okay, the last one we'll look at is a PSA that we think is really profound. It's from the UNHCR. It's about migrants and refugees, and it really has some deep implications. One is this idea of there is anti-immigrant sentiment, right, out there, and that we need more empathy. Again, it doesn't say that directly, but that is an underlying message of the text or implication.
Well said. In this particular ad, they kind of offer you a false choice, and I think the implication is that refugees have a choice. It's not. There is no choice, right? They're fleeing out of necessity, right? So I think that's an implication as well.
Yeah. Again, it's not directly stated. I think again another implication is that oftentimes people think about themselves too much, right? We think about ourselves, we think about our own situation, and we rarely put ourselves into the put on the shoes of others, right? Put ourselves into the
and I think that taps into the last idea is that this involves emotional trauma. If we look at this woman's face, her face is telling us a lot, but I have to infer what her face is telling me. It's not overtly stated, right?
Yeah.
Last one, Giles. Good old Grant Snyder.
Oh yeah, Grant Snyder. This is a great cartoon. I thought this was, again, this is on our paper one countdown. Again, this is all about this idea of like seeking a higher purpose, right? And the significance of that. I think there's also about the implication is that human beings are really never satisfied. We're always looking for answers.
Yeah, maybe it's the implication is talking about the mystery of life, how mysterious things are, and this idea that some questions can never be answered.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Also, this idea like the more we learn, the more we realize that we don't know
nothing.
anything. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Folks, in the end, we hope that this video is helpful for you and reminds you that you have to do more than discuss the literal. You need to think about, what can you deduce, what can you infer, what is implied by the text. If you can start writing about this using these sentence stems, we think you're going to have much better success in all of your IB assessments. So stay with the channel, keep on watching, and best of luck. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.